Welcome to the Vis X show. This is episode 8 of the show, and I am Vis, your barefoot host, a Generation X serial nonconformist. I alluded to that a little bit in episode 1. I mentioned that I'm a serial nonconformist and that has one of the expressions of that nonconformity is my proclivity to not wear shoes or to wear shoes that are different than what quote unquote normal people would wear, even when I am wearing shoes. Because let's face it, there are certainly times in my life when I am forced to wear shoes, like at the office, at a restaurant. So today I'm excited to bring you an episode called Outsiders. Outsiders is based on a piece of art that my friend Chris, also known as Articulate, has composed through a combination of photography and some digital painting and some use of artificial intelligence to put together a composition where he is holding a piece of art that shows up on the screen of his iPhone. And in it, you see his arm, his hand, the phone, and behind it, you see a mural. The mural is quite beautiful. So I'll go ahead and show you this mural now. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, you can see this is a photo called Outsiders. Now, why is this important? I'll give you the background on this. So Chris, also known as Articulate, if you want to look him up on Twitter, is generally considered a photographer. That's not his full-time job, but that's his passion and hobby. And I've gotten to know him on the internet because of his photography and his love of memes and non-fungible tokens, also known as NFTs. And he's part of a group that we lovingly call the Meme Maxis. And it's a group of people that support a project of NFTs that utilize memes as a source of alignment for people as they build something that's quite grand in scope technologically. So without nerding out too much or making it too complicated, there is a group of individuals online in the NFT world, also called Web3, that's building something called a decentralized decision network, and they call it Brain. And it's on a platform at 6529.io if you want to check it out. This is also where this particular piece of art from Chris has been selected to be a part of this collection of artworks and memes. And it not only was selected there, but it was selected in a way that is decentralized. It was voted on by people all over the world to be the people's card. And by that, I mean it's the very first card in this collection that was not curated by the centralized group and creators of this decision network. Now, this is a fun experimental phase of technology, and this is currently being used to align people who like art and memes and technology and decentralization and freedom. It aligns them in a way to test out some of the technology. And this could, in the future, be used for entire network state decisions. I mean, there could be people all over the world that align technologically in ways that don't align with their country of origin or their country of residency. And so this is something that has really like big, broad spreading opportunities for people in the world to use a technology that's only now being created and experimented with. and that's on the blockchain. So cryptocurrency, those are blockchain things. NFTs are blockchain items that show ownership and provenance. And so when I talk about this piece of art, or we'll call it a card, when I talk about this card titled Outsiders, that's sort of the background behind it. Now, Chris has been working for a number of years creating similar artworks where he is spreading out his hand towards a mural, a piece of art, showcasing on the screen of his telephone a different meme card or a different piece of artwork from this meme card collection on 6529.io. He's been doing that as a way to help showcase the fact that we need to move these ideas about freedom and decentralization and technology off of just our online communities, our digital communities on Twitter, Discord, all those places. We need to move them to the actual outdoors where real people like you can interact with them, can see them, and ask questions about why do we need the freedom to transact? Why do we need a decentralized decision network? I mean, isn't what we have good enough? These are questions that are tackled by Chris in his artwork, and he has now just published his second book, the second edition of The Memes Outside. You can look by that title on Amazon, and it will be printed and delivered directly to you. And you'll see his use of these compositions to show artwork on his phone against artwork that's outside as a way to get people thinking about art, about life, about outside, about technology, about what rights we have, both online and in the IRL, offline, in real life. So Chris has created this card. He submitted it to this group of people that are all over the world, and it was voted on. It's the very first card voted on and selected to be part of this project that did not include votes from the core team that have always curated the art for this collection. So it's a very important piece. All that to say, the reason I am highlighting this card today is because when he was submitting this card and talking to the group about this card, he made a comment that really, really stuck with me. And I'll tell you, I'm biased towards Chris and towards this card. I have been an admirer and encourager and supporter of his through his entire project of The Memes Outside. Over 2 years ago, I got involved with him and supporting him in this. And so I am biased, but I'm going to read to you one of the things that he said when he was talking about this card to the group of people who might vote to have it selected and curated as part of this collection. Here's what he said. He said, I had a question about this piece in a group chat, and if you don't mind, I'll just answer here quickly. Outsiders, the title of the card, both is and is fundamentally about being an outsider in a world of conformity. So now you see why in the intro I was highlighting the fact that I have said from the beginning that I am a serial nonconformist. That's why this is a barefoot podcast with a Gen X tilt. It's because I'm barefoot. I'm a nonconformist in so many ways. And as I mentioned in episode 1, you'll get to know me and you'll get to see how that nonconformity plays out in my life, my practical life, in my appearance, in the ideas that I hold, the actions and decisions I make, the way I make decisions. All of these things point toward the fact that I'm a nonconformist. And when I read Chris's words about the outsiders, not just this card, but his entire project, especially this card, both is an outsider in a world of conformity and is about being an outsider in a world of conformity. Today, conformity comes at us in so many ways. It comes at us in advertisements as we watch television. The Masters is on right now as I'm filming this episode. And there are commercials that will attempt to attract attention, market share, have people conform to whatever it is they're selling, whatever ideas or products they're pitching. Social media. You're watching this maybe on YouTube, maybe on Twitter, or maybe you're listening on a podcast platform directly. And every one of these outlets is trying to get you to conform to something. I heard the other day that one of the things that the algorithms on things like YouTube and Facebook have done, the marketing algorithms in terms of product placement and things like that, they not only learn the things that you like, but they have learned how to make you conform to like the things that they want to show you. Now think about that again. I think we would understand that when we ask the question, does it matter if Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk owns Twitter going into a presidential season? Does the ownership and do the policies of a large search engine like Google have an impact on the outcome of an election in the United States? I think everyone would agree. The answer is yes. Whether you agree about who's right or who's wrong, or you disagree, I think everyone would agree that we, in some way, conform based on what we're fed. That's why we talk about echo chambers. When you get into social media, they push people further and further away from the center into these chambers where things just begin to spiral over and over and over and convince you that you're right about an idea that it first told you about. So you don't necessarily have an original idea about policy or tariffs, right? You're not an expert about tariffs. Prior to 2025, chances are you thought very little about tariffs unless you're in international trade. But today, in April of 2025, everybody knows what a tariff is and they have some belief about them. Well, that belief probably, not for everyone, but probably conforms to what their social media algorithm has told them they should believe. It's kind of scary. And so what does it mean for me to be a serial nonconformist? So this has played out a number of ways in my life. I've dressed differently than other people for various reasons. I have always been considered someone who marches to the beat of my own drum. And I would say that there are certainly times in my life where I was a nonconformist just for the sake of not conforming or for the sake of being different. But more often than not, I'm just different than the groups around me. In high school, we'll say, I was never part of the in crowd. I was an outsider. And none of my friends would have considered me an outsider, but I wasn't a part of any single group. Most people have one or two groups. At least that was my observation. And I was friends with everyone and never a part of any single group. I wasn't part of the group of pure academics, although I graduated with perfect grades. I was ranked number 2 in my high school class. I was not part of the people who were considered theater people, even though I was in at least one play every year, and I competed in duet acting at an academic level. I wasn't a part of the athlete group, even though I played multiple sports every single year, and I was very good at some of them. So I wasn't a part of any particular group. I never felt like an insider. I've always felt like an outsider. Thinking about that and thinking about what Chris said, that his card, Outsiders, both is and is fundamentally about being an outsider in a world of conformity, really strikes me like in my core. Because even as a 46-year-old adult, I still feel like an outsider. I think probably anybody from the outside looking in would look at me and say, there's a guy that's really comfortable in his own skin. Like he's willing to walk around town with no shoes on. I mean, the only other people that we generally see like that are homeless. And this guy, he might look homeless, he might not. He certainly doesn't look normal walking around town with no shoes on. I did a 9-mile hike on Mount Rainier barefoot. I did a hike around downtown Seattle all day long barefoot, because that's what I wanted to do. Yes, you see and feel the eyeballs. If you listen closely, you'll hear the comments. And so you might look on and say, this guy is really comfortable in his own skin. He doesn't care what anybody thinks. And the truth is, I feel like an outsider almost everywhere I go. And I care deeply about what other people think. But I don't care enough to always conform to their expectations. Now, the benefit is that at age 46, many people who are around me now actually expect me to not conform. And so it's easy to live up to that expectation. I can do the things that seem good to me for my own personal reasons. And I don't even always have to explain them anymore. If it's getting in the cold water in the middle of the wintertime, or if it's going barefoot around town, or if it's any number of things, using weird and strange and ancient exercise modalities like Indian clubs or an Indian mace or Karlakatai, training in my physical training. These are things that I do, but people now, they just treat it like that's just Vis doing Vis kinds of things. But I'm an outsider and I feel it. And as I was thinking about that and reflecting on the fact that I'm known for being an outsider, a nonconformist, I'm known for being barefoot, I'm known for always changing my hair and my facial hair, and I'm known for wearing weird art on t-shirts, and it's my art that I created. And I wear it because I want people to see and experience my art. They probably don't know that it's mine. They don't know that I put it on t-shirts and they can go buy it, because I'm not a promoter. But I have a heart to chase after the things that are important to me Just like this podcast. I do this podcast not to be famous, not to prove to you that I can do it, but because there are things that occur to me that I want you to know. I want my children to know. I want my grandchildren to know. And the fact that I'm even considering my grandchildren who have yet to be born and my great-grandchildren and what I want to leave behind for them, in some ways that makes me an outsider. But I'm not the only one. As I talk to people and have many conversations over the years, people joke around and they talk about normal. And we always kind of laugh like, what is normal? There's honestly no such thing. Like, what does the normal person look like? How about this? What does the normal family dynamic look like? Do you have a family that's not messy? I mean, presumably there is at least one single family out there that's not messy, right? Because when we talk about my family's not normal, we mean like my family's messy. We've got drama. We've got this drunk uncle or this sibling or this grandchild that's always messing up or doing this or doing that, or we always argue about politics at Christmas time. We're not normal. So if we do consider that there is a family out there that doesn't have any sort of mess, no drama, no contention, then that family most certainly is not normal, right? And yet that elusive family is what we're basing normal off of in our own family lives. And we do the same with individuals. When I feel like an outsider, the fact is, it's pretty clear to most of the people I know that I'm an outsider, that I'm a nonconformist, because I don't try very hard to be on the inside. I don't try very hard to conform. I do in ways that I have to. Law, I try and conform to the law. When a sign says no shoes, no shirt, I mean, I say no problem, but they say no service. And so if I want the service, then I conform. But it occurs to me that probably everybody feels like an outsider. I mean, who are we kidding? If we say that the insiders are normal, or we hold up some ideal of what normal looks like for an individual or for a career or for a body image or for relationships, we hold up an ideal that doesn't exist. What is normal? What does it mean to be an insider? If being an outsider is a nonconformist, then being an insider would just be being a conformist, which many of you conform to many of the norms around you. But maybe they don't feel right. Maybe you only do them in areas where you have to, like when I wear shoes. Maybe you do things under protest. You conform under protest. Maybe you conform because going to jail doesn't seem like a good idea. Same. But it occurs to me that in terms of being an outsider, we all feel that. And I suspect that in the day of modern social media, you probably feel more like an outsider than ever before. Because people only post the things that conform. They post the pictures that conform to the image of someone. Like when you watch a movie or a show and they show a woman who just got out of bed, but her makeup looks great and her hair's brushed. Like, Those are the pictures that we present to our friends, to our public, to our followers, instead of what it really looks like, with the wrinkles on your face and maybe the CPAP lines, getting the crusties out of your eyeballs for the pictures. That's how we look when we wake up. Let's be honest, we don't look much better at any other time without a lot of effort. And even still, that's just talking about physical appearance. What about what's on the inside? Does buying that new thing that's on the commercial really make you feel like you're going to get the girl? Does it make it feel like you're a success? No, it doesn't. The truth is, at some level or another, every single one of us is an outsider, at least in our own mind. Think about that. You've heard me talk about being kind, and you've heard me talk about being intentional with our kindness and the way we treat people and do things, but we're turning it inside today. We're talking about what it feels like for you, for me, to be an outsider. And it's all about how you think about it. Like for me, because I'm known as a nonconformist, I'm known for it at this point, and it's expected of me, it's easy for me to do that and to feel more comfortable in my own skin. When I go to a park and exercise and I'm doing things like bear crawls and Kong vaults and all kinds of weird quadrupedal movement in the middle of a park by myself with no shoes, no shirt, people look, people stare, people turn to the people that they're walking through the park with and they make comments. And it's okay. It's okay for me because I've gotten used to it. I wouldn't say it doesn't bother me, but it doesn't bother me like it did the first few times. The first few times I'd go to a park and keep jumping over a log all day long for practice to vault on things, to learn parkour. I kept looking around. Everybody's looking at me. Maybe they were. Maybe they weren't. It just felt like they were. Felt like I was being silly. And maybe I was. Maybe we should be silly more often. Maybe we should be okay holding our phone up in front of a mural and taking a picture of it and posting it online for our friends to enjoy what we saw outside. So today, I am absolutely celebrating Chris. Articulate. He is an incredible friend. He's incredibly kind, and he loves people, and he loves art, and he loves being outside. But he's an outsider. He's continuing to build and do things regardless of the fact that there's very few buyers. He's not making money off this. This is a passion, a hobby. Him having this card selected was the first insider, quote unquote, kind of thing that he's accomplished in the past couple of years with his art and photography. That's super cool. But he's going to keep doing it no matter what, irrespective of people purchasing from him. Matter of fact, if you search memes outside on Amazon and purchase his book, here's one thing I promise you, he's not making any money. He sells it at the publishing cost. It's free. He'll even just give you the PDF. You can download it and print it off yourself. He doesn't need you to buy it. He just wants you to think about interacting with art and the world outside with people that matter. Thinking about things like freedom and decentralization. So today, the barefoot thought is this. Go outside. Take your shoes off. It's springtime here in Texas. The grass is starting to green and feel lush and vibrant on the bottom of my feet. You can feel the texture of the grass and the dirt and the different temperatures between the actual grass and if you hit a bare spot. It's marvelous. Go out there. Look for something that's beautiful, something that's artistic. Take a picture of it. Share it with me. Send it to me on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. Come find me if you can. Let me know. But consider that while you probably feel like an outsider, so does everybody else. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.